Welcome to Business Beyond Borders, the go-to podcast for CPA firms seeking transformative insights. I'm your host, Lawrence Whittam, and with each episode we'll uncover key insights, best practices, and invaluable resources tailored for CPAs. From trending strategies to diving deep into outsourcing and offshoring, our experts will help in all areas of your business. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Business Beyond Borders. So I'm here today with Agustin from Vintti, who's going to help us out and discuss a little bit about what they do and go over some of the best practices that he feels that are needed and some of the challenges that you'll face when you're working with a provider like them so that you can navigate it better, you can plan, and you can make sure that you are really ready to go. So nice to have you on, Agustin.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here and really eager to start.
Perfect. And again, we both have different accents. We have thicker accents. We've got one from a mixture of the UK and New Jersey. We've got one from South America. So we'll talk slowly. We'll make sure we understand each other. We'll make sure everybody else can understand us. Again, I'm pretty used to hearing people from all around the world, but other people aren't necessarily. So tell me and everyone else a little bit about yourself, just to start with. Like, who are you?
Amazing.
I know Vintti is pretty new, so we want to hear about it.
Amazing. Talking about accents, I'm gonna try to speak slowly as you requested. I'm Argentinian, and generally Argentinians tend to speak quite fast. So I'm gonna try to chill down a bit. My name is Agustin. I'm the VP of Growth and co-founder here at Vintti. Currently living in Spain with an MBA and a career focus in finance, right? One of the reasons we decided to start Vintti is because in my previous jobs, I was working with financial planning and analysis, and I had really a big challenge to find good talent and cost-effective talent, let's say, for our team in the US, right? So as my roots are from South America, I started searching there, and I said, oh, here is a great opportunity to be able to deliver cost-effective talent in same time zone and good quality talent, right? That's perhaps the main reason we started Vintti, right?
Yep. And then obviously South America is a reasonably, again, big place, right? Lots of different areas inside South America. And I would say that it's probably one of the newer areas that I see now firms, especially in the accounting industry. It's not new to outsourcing by any means, but it's new to accounting firms exploring it as an option. Right. And again, some people call it offshoring still, some people call it nearshoring, right? And there's different models and ways that you can work. So can you tell us a little bit about Vintti's model, right? And whereabouts in South America are you specifically, and whereabouts are you finding this talent?
Okay. So at Vintti, what we want is we help our clients build their offshore team in South America, right? And this goes from finding one bookkeeper for one person show, like an accounting firm of one person, or to putting together a 30 people team in Buenos Aires, finding an office. And at the end, we want to help our clients to focus on what they need to focus, which is generating more business for them. And we want to handle all the things that they don't want to do, finding the office, payroll, and all the back office tasks that at the end take time from your core business, right? So that's our main objective, right? We are working from South America because, as I was mentioning, the advantage of same time zone, I think it's a great advantage in terms of delivering good talent for our clients. And it's what we find that there is a big need, or compared to the Philippines and India, to deliver talent that is aligned in same time zone, right? And this gives us the opportunity to bring more senior talent, right? Which is the talent that generally are client facing, and at the end are people that needs to be aligned with the US. As per Vintti, we have a philosophy of we don't want to recruit from any specific country. So our team is mainly in Argentina, but we don't want to search specifically in Argentina, because what we want to do is we have an holistic approach at Vintti, that we want to understand our client needs, and based on that, go and search in South America, where is that perfect talent, right? So we are, let's say, country agnostic, and we try to search every country to find the perfect match for our clients. Having said that, nowadays, most of our team, we have people in Argentina, we have people in Colombia, we have people in Peru, and all those places, right? So that's a bit of where we source people from, and a bit of Vintti, right?
Yeah, and from a model perspective. So again, this is what one of the elements I want to make sure people understand as well. Like, you're not that traditional BPO style, really. Like, you typically don't have the infrastructure, right? You can help with a lot of those aspects if firms want, right? From my understanding, but what does the normal interaction look like with a client? So you're working with an accounting firm. What is the employee virtual typically, or are they in an office, right? And again, what's the actual model? Like, from my understanding, it's an employment of record, or similar to like a PEO model, compared to like being, hey, we're going to manage your team members and all of this. You really don't do those aspects unless really asked, right?
Exactly. So if I need to define Vintti in one of these, let's say, boxes, I think Vintti is an employer of record, because at the end, what we will do is we will hire the talent for our clients, and at the end of the month we will issue an invoice, right?
Yep.
Regarding the where is our talent, if it's online or in an office, at the end depends on what our clients want, right? There is most. So finding remote talent is more cost efficient at the end, because you don't have to pay for an office. That's the main difference, right? But if our clients, as I was mentioning, if a client wants his team to be in an office, we will find an office for you. We will do the search. We will present options. We will hire that office. We will take care of everything, right? Having said this, to be honest, I think 95% of our clients and our candidates nowadays are working remotely from their homes, right? So this is the main advantage, right?
Yeah, and I think, and again, from that employment of record style, right? And again, there's businesses that will do more for you if you want them to, right? Similar to Vintti from that perspective, and facilitate an office structure and everything like that. But the big piece there is, again, you're gonna bill the actual amount, right? You have your percentage that you take on top, or your fee that you typically have, right? And then you will give the actual billing if they want to go and get an infrastructure, right? If they want to go and rent out an office, you will provide those actual billings to the client, right?
Exactly. So at the end, what we will do is we'll try to, at Vintti, we have an holistic approach, right? And we want to be, as I say to our team every day, like we need to be customer obsessed, and we need to understand our clients and be in their foots, understand what are their needs, and try to take them headaches, right? Because for our clients, having to go and find someone in South America, hiring an office, sending the computer, taking care of all that is a headache. And we want to take those headaches from our clients. That's our objective, right? That's the approach we have. We want to understand what our clients need, and based on that, we will cover it. And it's this concept of if you want an office or if you want a computer for your candidate, we will present, these are the different options, these are the costs. We will present everything. You will choose, hey, I want option B for the computer, option C for the screen. This costs X amount, and we will invoice it. We will pay it, and then we will invoice it for you, right? So that's a bit of how it works.
So why South America, right? So, and why these countries? Obviously, Mexico is sort of, I would say, a more common spot, but you've mentioned sort of different areas, Argentina, right? Colombia, Peru, and all these different areas. So why South America in general? Why would somebody really want to go there compared to the Philippines and India? And you've mentioned obviously, and again, my big philosophy is it may be a complementary between like using talent all over the world, right? And be more open to using different vendors and trying it out. And but why specifically is South America a good spot for firms to look at the talent? Is it like, tell us what it is?
So I think that this answer is, I don't believe that there is a better region than another one. I don't believe that Philippines is better than South America or South America is better than India. I believe that the region or the company depends a lot on the needs of the business and on the culture of the business. So I see that there are companies that come and say me, hey, Agustin, I want a bookkeeper, but I don't want to interact with a bookkeeper. I just want to send them the information and process that. And my answer there is go and hire in India. It's going to be less expensive. They can do the work overnight and they're going to do an amazing job. So it depends a lot on your needs. So when I think South America makes sense, when you want someone who is immersed in the culture of your company, when you want someone that is as a full-time employee or as a part-time employee, but it's part of the team. If you want someone with that gets into the culture, that participates in meetings, that talk to clients and all those things, I think South America is better. Mainly because South America has a lot of alignment in terms of business culture with the US. Second, time zone. I think time zone is something that it's obvious, mainly because of the geographic where is South America, basically. And I think those two things are super important when you want someone that is immersed in your culture, right? I think those are two big advantages. And then South America perhaps is not as, I don't want to say cheap, but as less expensive like the Philippines or India, but it's super competitive. It's not that there is a big difference. It's perhaps 5% more expensive or 10%, depending on the country, depending on the talent or whatever, right? But I think those things are very important when choosing a region. It does not depend on one region better than another one. In general, I think it depends on what you need, what your business needs are, right?
Yeah. Now, so tell us, and again, a lot of people haven't traveled to South America, right? I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's an unknown for people. And again, it's more likely they've probably traveled to South America than they have India or the Philippines, right? In a lot of cases, but maybe they've gone to Mexico and the coastline and those areas. But what are the cities like? Where are people living? What is the culture like? What should they really know if they're, because like you mentioned, this is talent. They should be thinking that they're expanding of their own, right? So this is an employee they're really taking on. So in order to do that, you've got to have some understanding of the culture, right? What should they be thinking about? Even if it's just a couple of things to say, like, make sure you're aware of certain holidays, right? Because they're going to want this time off, right? If you make them work during those holidays, they're not going to like working for you, right? Or certain things, like tell us a couple of areas there that would be very important for firms to understand before getting into it.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say, Lawrence, is if you haven't visited South America, I can recommend 2 or 3 places. I think Patagonia is an amazing place to go. You definitely should go because it's beautiful. Then Cartagena in Colombia is another amazing place in Colombia, right? But having said that, in terms of culture, I mean,
so we're also a podcast where we give out travel tips as well now. So that's good. I appreciate
I need to promote a bit our region.
Yeah.
No, I mean, in terms of culture, I think South America, in terms of business culture, is pretty similar to the US. And this is mainly because when you get out of university, generally you go and work for big corporations. And these big corporations in South America generally are more from the US than from Asia or from Europe, right? And this is mainly because of some historic characteristics, right? But at the end, I mean, my personal experience, I worked for AT&T during my beginning of my career. All my friends have worked for companies like ExxonMobil, JP Morgan, like all US-based companies, and generally you are working with the US. So you know about US GAAP, you know about the different regulations, you understand the culture, you are working with US people, right? So this is a very important point. But I think that there are, I always, when we get into signing the contract, there are the typical things that a client asks me. So which are the public holidays? Which are how many PDO should I offer? Maternity leave, things like that. So how we work here is we always recommend our clients to make the offer that they feel comfortable with. We will make some recommendations. For example, in South America, for an entry-level position, offering 10 days of PTO is business standard, right? And if you want someone more senior, like with 5 years, 6 years of experience, that would go to 15 days PTO. And the importance here of complying with the culture is because you will have more chances for that offer to be accepted, right? Yep. So it's very important. In terms of public holidays, what we recommend is always complying with the US. And that's people that are working for the US understand that they have to adapt in a way to at least when they are working for the US, right? In time zone sometimes, and the days where you need to work harder, like tax season or other things. But our clients generally offer like US public holidays plus 1 or 2 local holidays to choose by the candidate, right?
Okay.
But in terms of general culture, I don't think there is a big difference, right? It's pretty similar.
Okay. So, I mean, nothing like, and I'll give India as a prime example, right? Obviously, they're very, very family oriented, right? So you generally see multiple generations in the family living together in the same home, right? So the parents will come back and live with the children who are now adults and working and middle-aged, right? But is there anything to watch out for? Or is there any mentality or way that people like to work? Are they more laid back with that communication style? Do they need more task-oriented work? Do they need more direction? Like those types of aspects. Anything for a firm to sort of like really watch out for? And again, I always advise like a lot of outsourcing, especially initially, you should be as much process driven as possible anyway, because it'll make life easier. However, more from the people side of it, right? Is there anything they should be looking out for, right? Do they need to go out for meals regularly, like as a group, to build team bonding, right, and have that interaction together as well, and things like that? Like what is it? There's got to be a few things there.
So the for what I see is generally as the culture is pretty similar, there are no that much big difference, right? Because at least my experiences with our candidates is they already have been working for US companies. So I don't see when I get asked these questions by clients, it's weird to for the answer to be I don't see big differences, because it sounds like I want to be like salesy and tell you that everything will be okay. But the truth is that there are not big differences there. The business culture is pretty similar. So I don't see big things that you have to take care of. Yes, the communications I think in the US are more direct than in South America. Perhaps in South America, you need to be more, how to say, soft for some people than hard. But at the end, when we search for people that will align with the culture of the country where we are hiring. Right. Yeah. So if I'm hiring for the US, I will try to find people that have already experience working with US and they are okay with that culture and they have already that culture immersed in them. Right. That I think and I think it's a culture it's used to work hard. South America, at least in our experience, used to work hard. They are not that much like, hey, I'm going to work 40 hours and when I reach 5 p.m., I'm going to close my computer and I'm going to go. So the culture is, hey, I'm going to do the job, right? If the job is 10 hours, I'm going to stay 10 hours, right? So that's the mentality I see in South America, right?
Okay. And then what about sort of challenges? So let's say firms are now working with you or similar firms that are on an employment of record style. And it could be, you can answer from the employment of record style, or you could answer just from the Vintti perspective. Like, what are some of these challenges that are coming up that firms can know about? Maybe give us one or two that firms can at least know about now so they can put a plan in place to help avoid in the future, right? And again, these can be, try to get as specific as possible, right, would be helpful, because again, this is where we can provide some value to these firms to say, okay, well, plan this out. This is probably one of these more common areas. Now let's put a plan in place to avoid that going forward.
Great, Lawrence. That's a great question, and you mentioned something in the previous question, right? And I think this is super useful, and we recommend from Vintti to have all these things, which is like having SOPs in place, having a standardized onboarding process. Those things are super important to have everything ready as soon as possible, and for the candidate to be able to have the tools to deliver what they need to deliver, right? So generally, obviously, these things in more junior positions are more important than in senior positions. But it's super important to have them. In Vintti, we help you. If you don't have the SOPs, we'll help you to build those SOPs in terms of how the job is done, what the client needs, the standardized onboarding, what needs to look like an onboarding. Things that are pretty basic, but are important to have. For me, that's key for the success of hiring someone online. Because this person is going to be remote, and they need to have the tools to be able to do their work in the best way possible, right? And also there are two other things that I think that they are important, but generally I see that our clients don't think about it. The first one is hardware. So how they are going to solve the hardware problem. In Vintti, we will help you find the computers, buy it, send them to the candidate. We will do all that. But sometimes I find clients that tell, no, I want to send the computer myself. And you have to understand that in South America, that's a bit complicated, because customs is more tough. You need to pay taxes. For example, in Argentina, that can take 2 or 3 months, and especially if you don't know how the system works. So that's something that you have to take into account if you want them to have your own hardware, or buy a new computer or whatever. And the last thing is, during the interview process, what we see is the clients that succeed more in finding good talent are the clients that have like a sort of test to validate the technical skills, right? When they are looking for someone expert in taxes or with experience in QBO. So what I see is that the clients that have success is the clients that they have like a test to validate that how much is the knowledge that they have in QuickBooks. Or I don't know, like how their knowledge is in 1040s, in 1165, in 1120s. So the different taxes or the different technical skills that they need to have, or Excel, right? So I think having a test in the interview process, it's super, super important to be able to assess the quality, the qualities of the candidate, right?
Yeah. So again, from that perspective as well, like just making sure that as you're onboarding, right, and as you're recruiting essentially and going through this interview process, people can say what they can say, right? But actually testing them during that process. So having somewhat of a standardized test that you can at least get more of a benchmark as to what they can do is important. I mean, I will give a shout out to Accountess. I know they're a provider. I think they were Australia based, but they're over here in the US now. Like they're doing work with different firms. And again, and that's because I would always say a similar thing in terms of, okay, I mean, use some prior year's returns, start creating your own tests, and firms struggle sometimes with that. So again, there are providers out there as well that now help with those testings, right? So it's definitely something to look into if you're struggling with that aspect, but it's a very important feature to really see what the candidates can do. I completely agree. So tell us about the candidates themselves, right? I mean, realistically, like if I'm a firm, I'm looking to come into South America to hire some talent, like accountants, tax preparers, auditors, like seniority levels, like give us a rough idea, like what should my expectations be? What level of talent can I really find there, and what types of talent from a perspective of services they can deliver?
So what we see is in terms of, we specialize in finance and accounting, right? So I can speak about that. But what we see is that we can deliver almost everything in terms of senior accountants, bookkeepers, tax preparers, everything. The biggest challenge, and this is to be completely transparent, is when we need to find someone that needs to do individual tax, right? Because there are not that many people doing that. And the main reason is because generally people are working for big corporations that are doing their taxes of their business units, or they are working for another accounting firm remotely or for a big four, and they are doing the things for the clients of the big four, right? So perhaps they are doing all the corporate tax and other things, but when doing individual tax, especially 1040s, it's a bit more challenging to find that profile. So what we, in our experience, we were always able to deliver good candidates in every search, except when dealing with individual tax. When dealing with individual tax, we have succeeded, but times may take a bit longer, right?
Okay. So you're saying that any type of business partnership tax is a little bit easier from the tax perspective than necessarily individual tax. You've got, and again, the tax experience is typically coming from either a large public company or a large private company, right? And they're doing internal taxes for them, right? Or it's coming from Big Four experience typically, right? Because there aren't a huge amount of captives over there from a public accounting firm perspective, right? US public accounting firm perspective. Is that right?
More or less. So we recruit a lot of people that are already working for the US for small and medium business, for SMBs accounting firms, right?
Yeah.
That have 10, 50 people. So they already have that experience. But
private companies,
we recruit a lot. Exactly. And we recruit a lot also from Big Four, but from the business unit that they are serving SMBs. Because at the end, what our clients want or our clients are more small and medium type accounting firms, and they want those kind of people, the people that have experience working with SMBs, which at the end are our clients' right?
Yeah.
So yes, yeah.
Understood. And then let's say, as we sort of wrap this up, can you give a couple of, let's just say maybe your largest best practice, right, when it comes to this, right? So if somebody's exploring this and they want to take the next step, right, or they currently already have a team, but they're struggling in some capacity, right? And I don't mean capacity from the perspective of finding the people, but capacity in terms of they're struggling to make it work efficiently. What is a best practice they can implement quite easily in their firm, right? And if they put their time in to do that, that would help improve what they've got currently going on or make sure their experience is a lot better?
For me, the number one thing that is super important is for the talent to understand perfectly what they need to do, right? Because they are in a remote, they are far away in their houses, working remotely. So they need to understand perfectly what their job is, especially in junior positions. When we are speaking about senior positions, that's easier because the interaction is higher. There is another sort of dynamic between perhaps a partner and a manager than a partner and a junior bookkeeper. So this is most important for junior positions, which are the most ones that are outsourced or that we hire for. And that relates me to having the SOPs in place and to have all the standard procedures in place and to be super clear with our client.
Yeah, I was going to say, so to wrap that off, I mean, it's so to have a very clear scope of work, right, is very important, along with the standard operating procedures, which again are sometimes more general. And again, when we talk about standard operating procedures, and I hear this quite a lot, is that a lot of firms will have them in place to some extent or have created some, but they've never edited them. right? So they've never looked at them again. They've done it once. So again, it's very important to have a scope of work and a standard operating procedure that is constantly being adapted, right? I mean, you're bringing in a new talent from somewhere else that may not have the skill sets specifically that somebody internally would have, right? Or you may hire them at a different level than you would have hired them. So now you may have to edit or change that standard operating procedure as well. So it's important to make sure that we're working on those as well consistently and not just saying, hey, listen, we've got a standard operating procedure. This is it to a T. We may have to come back on that and discuss, right? And that's where it's that discussion piece. Where do I have to train? Where do I have to work on those types of things? So that's extremely helpful. Anything else, Agustin?
Yes. Can I add something that I think it's really important? This is for when recruiting people offshore, or this what we see on Vintti, which is a great practice, and the searches that succeed more are the searches that we do this in a proper way, which is understand very good which is going to be the job description and the requirements of the person you are looking for, and be realistic about that. Because generally my clients tell me, no, I want them to know QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, SAP. And I say, okay, I mean, it's very difficult to find someone. So what we try to do, at Vintti, we have a special part of our process, which is called Recruiting Deep Dive, where we will bring our talent acquisition specialist that is going to lead that search to understand perfectly what are the needs that need to be covered in the person that we need to find. But not only on the technical part, not only on the accounting experience or on the QuickBooks or understanding which tax, but also understanding very good the culture of the company, knowing who is going to be the hiring manager. Because what we saw is the best hires are when there is a fit in terms of cultural alignment with the company, right? And this is super important also to be pushed by the clients, by the people that are looking to offshore, to find people that are aligned, that are a fit in terms of culture. Because those are the people that are going to stay the long time and are the people that are going to add the most value, right? And this is super, super important. I see that lots of clients do not focus on this, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's super important.
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's one of the things that, again, outsourcing in any fashion, right? Whether it's offshoring, nearshoring, outsourcing domestically, whether it's using an employment of record style, like it really doesn't matter. Like you have to put some thought behind it at the end of the day. There needs to be a planning that goes into this. There needs to be an investment of time that goes into this as well, right? Such as just preparing everything in the right fashion. So putting together a clear scope of work, standard operating procedures, and making sure you think about them and maybe take a third opinion on it, right? Just to make sure you have somebody looking out and saying, wait a minute, I mean, I don't think somebody fresh is going to be able to do this, right? For example, that coming into your company, right? Looking at, okay, when you're even hiring, like, do you have a clear job description? What's actually most important for that role? Okay. And what are the responsibilities that they're going to be doing? Right. Because again, this is something where you can now understand that role themselves better. You want to hire people, things can be trained, right? And again, you want to make sure you have somebody that's a good cultural fit that'll stay long term with you, that you can train and is adaptable, compared to necessarily somebody that maybe has all those skill sets but isn't a good cultural fit, and now is going to leave in 6 months, right? For whatever reason, right? Exactly. So no, very, very important, and appreciate that, Agustin. So, and again, really appreciate the time. How can anybody reach you if they're exploring South America more, and especially on that employment of record style approach, but maybe they just want to talk to an expert, know somebody down there that they can run things by and start exploring it? Like, how do they reach you?
Sure. They can reach out to me to my email, my personal email, my email at Vintti, which is agustin@vintti.com. Then after we can share it in written, or you can reach out to Vintti directly. Lawrence, for all the people that are listening to the podcast, and they talk to our sales reps, they will have a discount of 10% for the first 6 months. So if you have any doubts, at Vintti, we do not only help you at finding people, but I'm reached out by lots of clients or possible clients that tell me, hey, I want to hire, but I don't know how to do it. So we will help you build those SOPs. We'll help you build those job descriptions and understand the profile that you are looking for, right? So if you have any doubts, just reach out. And our process is completely free, so you don't pay until you decide to hire, right? So.
Perfect. No, and we'll post the information below this episode as well. So if people want to reach out, or you can reach out to me, I'm happy to pass the details along. So again, very kind, offering 10% discount for people for the first 6 months, right? And again, the big thing is he's happy. Again, Agustin specifically and Vintti, like they're happy to talk to people, right, and help with that planning stage, because there's a time to do this. It doesn't have to be jumping into the deep end, right? There should be a planning aspect that goes into it. So make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you look into firms like Vintti and Agustin to have those conversations. Make sure you are comfortable as a firm to get into this type of thing. And I hope you've enjoyed the episode exploring South America a little bit more on this employment of record style. And again, Agustin, very nice to have you. And we look forward to seeing everybody on future episodes of Business Beyond Borders.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Lawrence.
Thank you for tuning in to Business Beyond Borders. I'm Lawrence Whittam, and it's been a pleasure bringing you impactful insights tailored for the modern CPA firm. Remember, the world of accounting is vast and ever evolving, and we're here to navigate it together. For more resources and episodes, don't forget to subscribe and reach out to our experts. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of your business and explore the limitless possibilities beyond borders.